my education at the Royal Academy, and I wanted to learn to be an actor, not a women. And we went, oh, great play, that's all it is. Oh, I'd like to know. And so he said, then you will leave at the end of term. But in any case, that you have little or no talent, that I had the answers just as well that you're leaving. At the end of the term, we did a play, and I played two roles. I played the part of the man who was murdered in the first act, and I played the part of the man who found out who murdered me in the last act. And Noel Coward was the guest of honor. And Sir Kenneth said, "Sir, did you enjoy yourself?" He said, "Yes, very, very much." He said, did you see if there was anybody that had any talent that you found to speak of?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "Never heard of the wrong character." He said, "Yes, a very, very good performance of the man who was murdered in the first act, but a remarkably good performance of the man who found out who murdered him in the last." Well, of course, naturally, I was delighted. I gave him a fond kiss. Very dangerous thing to do. And he was my guru for the rest of his life while I was in the theatre. I then joined the Arts League Service Travelling Theatre, which was a fit-up company which went all around the country doing fit-ups. 110 items, and they had to do 2 extracts of the classics, and the rest was mime and ballet, and amazing sort of high-class variety. And I enjoyed that enormously, very good experience, especially in learning how to mend the internal combustion engine. The bus never stopped breaking down. But nevertheless, we had a good experience. We were directed by a famous actor called Sir Donald Wolfett, and a great tragedian and a magnificent Lear. And there was a lovely story about him. He used to tour with his wife, who wasn't a dying. And he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank you for your magnificent reception of our piece here tonight." He said, "Next week we will be performing Hamlet. I will be playing the part of the prince. And my dear wife, Rosalind Diamond, will be playing the queen." And a voice in the back of the gallery said, "Your wife's an old tart." Well, I mean, everybody was mortified. Yes, and an audience actually shout back, "Your wife's an old tart." And Donald Wolfett pulled himself up, and he looked straight at the man, and he said, "Nevertheless, you do speak English." Well, that was a great retort, nevertheless. I went into repertory companies and toured all over England, and I was in a play called, what was it called? To Kill a Cat at the Aldrich Theatre when war broke out. And so I thought, what am I going to do? I was join something. I didn't want to join the army. I was terrified of the army. Bayonets and everything. Because I was born at a time when it was very prevalent. I was born at the end of the First World War. And so I was terrified. I had nightmares about bayonets and trenches. So I didn't want to join the Air Force. I didn't have anybody ever had the courage to join the Air Force. God knows, night after night going out and traveling being burnt to death. Terrible. So I said, join the Navy, because at least you don't see the enemy. They're a long way away. And you get 3 good square meals a day. And you can sleep in a hammock at night. That seems like a good idea. I forgot, of course, that I get desperately seasick. So for all the years I was at sea, I was desperately seasick. But luckily I had some good friends, and they looked after me. I was in submarines to begin with, which is rather silly, because I was 6'2.5". I shrunk about an inch and a half. And incidentally, the reason why I'm walking around with a stick is not because of my incredible age, but because I've just not all that long ago had a spinal operation. It's still a bit weak in the legs. Anyway, I was in this submarine, and it was a C-class submarine, and very, very low ceiling. And I was very tall, and so I had this Alaska plaster on my forehead, and my captain said, "Look here, Paddy, that wound of yours is taking a long time to heal." I said, "I haven't got a wound," so he said, "Why are you wearing your Alaska plaster?" I said, "So I won't get one." So they took me out of submarines, and they put me in battle cruisers, they put me in the Hood. The Hood was the biggest battle cruiser in the country. It weighed 42,000 tons, it did about 44 knots, flat out. It did about half a yard to a gallon of petrol. And it was an amazing boat. The only trouble with it was that it had 3 wooden decks and 1 armoured deck. And it had thick magazine hatch covers about that thick, armour-proof steel. And Churchill had them taken off because he wanted the ship to be fast enough to catch the Bismarck and the Scharnhorst and the Eisenhower, the German equivalent. And so he had those taken off to make it light enough, which was a disaster as it turned out. I was in North Sea convoys for a long time, going through seas about 75 to 80 feet high, and you didn't go over the top of them, you were in the boat both sides, you went through the middle of them. And as you went through the middle, if you were up at the spotting top where I used to be on watch, and the boat would hit the waves and they go, like this and go over you, and by the time they'd reached you, and they'd turned into icicles. Now, can you imagine a more ridiculous thing than being in a war and losing your life by being stabbed to death with an icicle? Well, we were in peril of that happening, I tell you. I used to go to Murmansk and Archangel and be ignored utterly by the Russians, who, when we brought the tanks in, only lost maybe 40% of the ships that we were convoying, and then the Russians would say, Russian tanks. We'd say,